If you've ever pitched a startup investor before, you know they love to ask this question: how do you make money? Now, usually the best way to answer this during a pitch is with the business model slide. But what content should a business model slide have on it, and what should it look like? In the next few minutes, we'll answer this question and more so you can build a killer business model slide for your pitch deck. What's up, founders? This is Keen from StoryPitchDecks.com, where we help founders 40x their chances of getting funded. Now, at Story, we've written tons of business model slides for almost every kind of startup. But we wanted to see, aside from our own experience, what investors recommend for business model slides and what founders are actually doing with their business model slides. So we first did some research. We started out by gathering 66 verified expert opinions online and cross-referenced those with 32 business model slides from publicly available pitch decks. Next, we bucketed everything into 7 categories of recommendations, and here's what they are. In this chart, you can see the number of opinions and the number of observations for each major recommendation. Overall, the primary business model slide content recommendations we found are as follows. First up is products and services. Second up is pricing model. Third is cost and expenses. Fourth is profit margin. And fifth is customer metrics. Now, the most common recommendation was to show products and services. Put simply, this is what a startup will offer to earn revenue. As you can see, what we heard versus what we saw were almost the same. So, which means that founders are definitely putting this recommendation into practice. Now, what investors expect to see here is an outline of your products and services with short descriptions or even product images or screenshots. Now, here's a quick couple of examples for you. The first slide from eShares outlines and describes each of their services along with showing their pricing model as well. So this is a good, nice, clean example. Now, while this slide from Bliss.ai outlines their product and also shows a sample mock-up of their main service as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the next most common recommendation, the pricing model. Sometimes referred to as the revenue, this shows how much customers will pay for a startup's product or services. This recommendation is usually practiced alongside the previous category of note, products and services. Now, why is this? It's pairing pricing with products and services really communicates very clearly what the offering is and how much it will cost. Let's check out a few more examples from publicly available pitch decks. As you can see here, Almanac outlines each of their price points and describes what consumers would get depending on their plan. Nice and simple, really clearly explained. We love this one. On the other hand, Zestful does something similar. Only here, they delineate between subscription fees, transaction fees, and cashback purchase fees. All 3 of these elements are important aspects of their revenue model, which is really important to note. Now, next up is cost and expenses. Now, this one's all about showing how much it will cost a startup to produce or even deliver given products or services. Investors prefer to see these numbers alongside pricing to get a feel for whether or not the company will have a healthy cash flow. Now, here, most founders omitted these metrics from their pitch decks, or at least removed them before publishing them online. Now, while we don't have any examples to show you, this doesn't mean founders should leave this one out entirely. Also of note, if founders don't talk about their costs here, they should definitely talk about their costs on another slide, usually the financial slide. So let's move on to our last few categories. While these recommendations ranked in the bottom half of popularity, it doesn't mean founders should ignore these completely. For profit margin category, this is usually represented as either a percentage or on a per sale basis. It makes sense that if founders are showing pricing and cost, they should also probably do the math so investors don't have to do it in their heads. Now, one of the last recommendations, but definitely not the least, is the customers metric. And these sort of customer metrics describe a customer base's overall buying and usage behavior. Of note, customer metrics are usually considered essential for companies that are also raising funds post-launch. Now, the final thing I'll mention here is financial projections. Now, we saw this in our research, but we usually recommend saving this for a separate slide and not necessarily alongside business model content. So if you want to read the full report, I will put a link to the article in the comments. If you're interested in following along for more pitch deck insights, hit that subscribe button or follow along at storypitchdecks.com. Thanks for watching and happy hunting, founders.